General quarters, all hands man your battle stations.
Do you care about people? Do you care about your country? Do you care about your family? Well, if so, you need to spend some of the next 18 months focusing on the planned, illegal, transformational destruction of the United States by the Biden administration. Hi, I'm Tom Trento, and the Biden administration de facto has planned to obliterate the United States of America's national sovereignty as it relates to our Mexican border by the intrusion, the invasion, the advancement of literally millions of illegal aliens. Why? The whole idea is to take these poor people, plaster them all over the United States, plaster them in blue states to create larger population, to have more congressional members, to take these poor people, plaster them in red states, to dilute that state and turn them purple and put them in purple states to turn them blue. The Biden administration views these illegals as pawns on a geopolitical chessboard to transform America into some sort of global elitist society. These illegals will become completely dependent upon the Biden administration for all necessities in life, for food, for shelter, for clothing, for education, for medical care, with the end game being, guess what, voting. Bang! That's their end game, to have a subservient class that is dependent upon the Democrat Party to vote Democrat eternally here in the United States of America, to the pleasure of the Marxist elitists globally. And guess what? You, the American taxpayer, get to pay for all of this. Finally, again, to the pleasure of the global elitists, America has a brown-skinned underclass. Folks, it's 1860, the Democrat Party all over again. Brown people subservient to Democrats. Following the playbook of Stephen Phillips, exactly implementing his playbook, brown is the new white.
We are at war, a civil war. We've been in this war since 1861. This prolonged war is a battle between those who believe America is fundamentally a white nation and those who believe that this is a multiracial democracy. Those fighting for white supremacy have always been the minority and continue to rely on an old Confederate battle plan rooted in inciting fear, distorting the truth, and silently sanctioning terrorism. In recent years, the new American majority has been fighting with a liberation battle plan of their own. We need to prioritize and invest in progressive leaders and organizations who mobilize voters and have proven that they know how to win. This is how we win the Civil War.
They view brown-skinned people as the new useful idiots in their end game of global politics. This transformation is to the textbook written by Stephen Phillips. Who's Stephen Phillips? He was a student in Stanford back in the 80s, communist leader, an avowed communist, realized if you put on a suit and you push this stuff, you'll get more donors. Married a rich woman, got money, and then became one of the intellectual leaders of the Democrat Party. He was one of the founders of Barack Obama and Kamala Harris. He was a guiding light for Nancy Pelosi. Read his book, Brown is the New White. And look, who's following his playbook? Let's take a look at Barack Obama.
We are 5 days away from fundamentally transforming the United States of America. And together, we will change this country and we will change the world. Thank you.
How about Alejandro Mayorkas?
The border is closed. The border is secure.
And of course, Kamala Harris.
We have a secure border in that is a priority for any nation, including ours and our administration. But there are still a lot of problems that we are trying to fix, given the deterioration that happened over the last 4 years. We also have to put in place a law and a plan for a pathway for citizenship.
And of course, Joe Biden, listen to this.
Should someone who is here without documents, and that is his only offense, should that person be deported?
That person should not be the focus of deportation. We should fundamentally change the way we deal with things. I would, in fact, make sure that we immediately surge to the border.
This latest caravan passing through Mexico, now numbering in the thousands, days after barreling through a blockade of Mexican police and National Guard.
All those people are seeking asylum. They deserve to be heard. That's who we are. We're a nation that says if you want to flee and you're fleeing oppression, you should come.
When it comes to illegal migration, you've seen it come down by more than 90%, and that's because of the actions that this president has taken.
Legal immigration through the front door. No country surpasses the benevolence, compassion, assistance of the United States following a rule of law. This is what these Democrats are trying to obliterate. And when will they do that? Well, they're going to do that on May 11th, 2023.
And tonight, from Texas to Arizona to California, some border officials expect the daily flow of migrants will double when the COVID border restriction known as Title 42 is lifted a week from tomorrow. President Biden under pressure. Republicans arguing his lax border policies sparked the record number of illegal border crossings. We were here several months ago, and there appear to be many more migrants now. The difference is striking. This group extends all the way around this church for several city blocks.
I have lived here for over 38 years, and I've never seen anything like this in El Paso.
Claudia Rodriguez is a business owner in El Paso who does not think the White House has done enough to prepare for the lifting of Title 42.
We have people sleeping on our streets. This is unsustainable. It's not normal. Please help us, and enough with the politics of it.
The predictions, ladies and gentlemen, is 400,000 people a month. 400. I grew up in Newark, New Jersey. Population of about 300,000. Imagine every month we bust the total population of Newark, New Jersey to the Mexican border and say, go at it. Take off. Go to any city you want. Where do you want to go? We'll give you a phone. We'll give you clothes. We'll give you food. Go. The whole population of Newark, New Jersey. And then the next month, the same thing happens over again. Can you imagine the economic impact in inner cities? Can you imagine the impact in classrooms? Can you imagine the impact in hospitals? But so what? This is the Democrat Stephen Phillips' plan to have a generational change of Democrat voters and destroy conservative voting in the future.
Texas is 38% white. The majority of people, the majority of eligible voters in Texas are African American and Latino. And so this notion that this is a very conservative state that we're never going to be able to turn around. I remember when I first showed some of those numbers to Corey. He's all like, we flipped Texas. We flipped the whole game. So Biden lost by 600,000 votes. There were 4 million people of color who did not vote in that election. So the path is actually quite clear and quite logical. But that's part of the point, too. I think the work of all these activists is we also have to challenge the Democratic Party institutions who have the money. Like, actually billions of dollars get spent in every election cycle. We have to challenge the major donors. We have to challenge the different, foundations to invest in this work. And I've been on this journey and seen how much these people who are doing great work have to struggle and scrimp and try to get by to get little bits and pieces of resources while we're showering tens of millions of dollars on TV ads that have very little impact.
All right. So what can be done about this mess? What can be done about a Democrat Party that has a steamroller rolling over the rule of law, rolling over these poor people, viewing them as brown-skinned 1860s pawns in their geopolitical game? What can we do? We can't throw up our hands and quit and give up. I know a lot of people feel that way. You have to dig down deeply and rise to the occasion. Number one, we throw the bums out on Tuesday, November 5, 2024. That election is so critical. We've got to mobilize now to prepare for that election. But you know what? There's a lot of local elections from now until then. You need to get involved in your school board, in your committee-led meetings, in your town council meetings, wherever. Let your voice be heard. Your voice is the voice of reason. And also, you can get involved with us, defendtheborder.org. Go to our website. We have a 3-part plan. Number one, we're producing long-form television shows and theatrical movies to educate Americans to be mobilized to fight this critically important battle. Our second tier, social media short-form videos like we're presenting right now. Again, educational material. And the third prong of our 3-pronged plan is a grassroots activism, working with other organizations around the country to literally mobilize tens of thousands of people to get involved intellectually understanding what's going on and compassionately fighting for the truth and the rule of law in America. So, if you love people, find time over the next 18 months to get involved financially and with your time and efforts and talents. If you love your family, recognize that they are going to get crushed by this Democrat, illegal, immoral juggernaut. And if you love your country, recognize this, that if Abraham Lincoln and George Washington and Thomas Jefferson were sitting on this side, and Saul Alinsky and Lenin and Karl Marx were right here, and I said, guys, hey guys, what side of the equation, what side of the fight are you on? Are you on the fight with the Democrats to, this is a stupid illustration, but you get my point. The good guys would be fighting for defending the border in a humane way and saving lives, and these evil individuals would be supporting the Democrat plan. That's all you have to know. Join with us in this fight. It's a fight worth living and a fight worth dying for.
Our southern border is in chaos. The United States of America no longer has operational control of our border. The Mexican cartels do. I'm Tom Homan, and working with President Trump, we created the most secure border in our lifetime. And Joe Biden destroyed it in a matter of days, on purpose. And the result? Historic illegal immigration. Human suffering of catastrophic proportions, and U.S. deaths beyond wartime levels.
The strongest nation in the world no longer controls the southern border, which has resulted in historic illegal immigration, historic drug flow, historic sex trafficking of women and children. This can be stopped.
It's time to defend the border and save lives.